Hey guys, it's Kristine Leahy. We are keeping social today, trying to from our homes as everything with coronavirus is going on. Today I have a guest I'm so excited about, Sypher, huge on YouTube and on Twitch. You play Fortnite. You're keeping really involved with your community right now, and I'm sure they need you more than ever just to kind of connect with someone. Sypher, first of all, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a little crazy the past few weeks, but I'm just keeping up with the streaming and the YouTube. Still kind of doing the same thing I've been doing, just a little bit more of it because I can't really leave the house during these times. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, when I first thought about esports and how this would be affected by everything going on with the pandemic, I thought, well, esports might actually grow from this because it's already an online community, and people right now are craving content more than ever. But now I'm actually starting to see that a lot of live events have been canceled. Do you talk about this with your peers and your friends? And what are their thoughts about all these events being canceled and how it's going to impact the future of esports?
Yeah, so esports for the past couple years, especially, have been trying to push for a more traditional sporting role where they do these live events and they get the teams out there in the jerseys, and there's that live interaction instead of just everything being online or without an audience. And they've invested a lot of money into this. Overwatch League and the Call of Duty League both have really made strides to make city-based competitive teams where people show up to a live event, live tournament, and cheer on their favorite team, and that has been halted pretty much due to this pandemic that we're experiencing, and it's really set them back a bit. And now they're kind of forced to go back to a more traditional esports role where the tournaments are played online. Luckily for them, they have that flexibility, but I know it definitely set them back a little bit considering how much time and effort they've spent into kind of trying to break into the mainstream with a more traditional sporting event for esports.
So it kind of killed the momentum that they had going already.
Definitely.
At the same time, esports has all regular traditional sports are being canceled right now. I think people are craving some sort of competition. Are you seeing people kind of tune into your channels, into other streamers more now because they just want some semblance of sports?
Yeah, so I've definitely received an increase in viewership both on my live Twitch stream and on my YouTube videos. And to point out specifically competitions, Call of Duty Warzone just recently had a community organized tournament with over 500,000 live viewers watching just on Twitch alone, and then maybe even more on YouTube as well. So this kind of tournament would have pulled maybe half the viewership. It would, during this time, everyone's home, everyone's watching. So the viewership for a tournament that's not even really backed by sponsors or like an official tournament to have that many viewers is substantial and, quite frankly, almost unprecedented. So people are watching more often, and they're tuning in for these live tournaments.
Overall, do you think what's going on right now is going to help or hurt esports?
I think if anything, it is helping a little bit because it kind of highlights the strengths that esports have, which is they have the ability to go take it online during this moment in time, while other sports don't really have that option. I mean, they might play their games out without live audiences, but the NBA just postponed their season, so clearly that's not really the best option either for them. So it kind of highlights the strengths, and probably a lot more fans will get into esports during this time. So in the long run, there'll be more people interested in watching esports.
How have your numbers been affected personally? Are you seeing a lot of new viewers, a lot of returning people more frequently? What is it looking like?
So there's a lot of new viewers, and there's people who sometimes they just tune in once a day that are tuning in every single day. The numbers are definitely up. Even subscriptions are up, but there are some viewers who are coming to me and saying, "Hey, I got laid off from my job. I can continue my subscription." And that's a lot of the people who support my content and support my stream are being really negatively affected by this pandemic. So that sucks to see, but the viewers are definitely up as well.
What do you do when someone says that? That's got to hurt a lot.
So we have a really strong community vibe, especially on my stream, and we try to support each other. So a lot of times when their subscription expires, you have the option on Twitch to gift the subscription. So we just pay for the subscription to keep going so that they can keep their sub streak going and still feel like they're part of the community. And of course, they'll always be part of the community, even if they don't have their subscription going. And I try to emphasize that. But some people really they want to keep their sub streak going and they can't. So we try to help them that way. It's the least we can do to give back to the people who have been supporting my content.
Yeah, is your revenue stream doing okay, or has it seen a hit as well?
It's actually gone up mainly due to the fact that uh, the ad revenue, especially on YouTube, there's a lot more people watching. That's gone up. There's a lot more people watching on Twitch, which also contributes to the ad revenue over there. But just the influx of viewers and people using their free Twitch Prime subscription or just subscribing in general, um, all the numbers have been up. Even though some people are dropping their subscriptions, the subscription count has not dropped. It's actually gone up because of everybody being home.
Okay, that's good for you. Uh, these athletes who are now sitting at home, basketball players, football players, they can't leave their house. Are you having them reach out to you and ask, "Hey, can we play some Fortnite?" Are they bored?
Yeah, so I've played with athletes in the past, and a lot of times, every once in a while they'll come and play. But now that their seasons are kind of done and they're on downtime, a lot of them are reaching out a little bit more. Tariq Cohen, Myers Leonard, I've played with them. Tariq Cohen's a really good player, but just in the past month, it seems like he's gotten a lot better at Fortnite and Call of Duty. Every time I open up his story, he's posting a victory royale that he's gotten. And Myers Leonard has been really, keeping up with his Twitch stream, and I think he has probably the best approach out of all the athletes because his Twitch stream actually has like custom graphics and a very personal touch to it. And he has really good, interaction with the community that's watching him on Twitch. And I feel like you kind of need that. You can't just be a, big sports athlete and then turn on a webcam and start playing video games. I mean, you can if you want to, but long term, if you're trying to build up like a live streaming community, you have to have that personal touch. And I think Myers Leonard has that right now.
And he's talking a lot to his fans. I'm sure that's important.
Yeah, definitely a lot of great community interaction with him.
Who's the best Fortnite player out of all the athletes?
I would have to say Tariq Cohen. I'm a little biased because I did play with him in the pro am a couple years ago. But he was really good back then, and he's a lot better now. And he's always posting wins, and he's always clutching up and posting clips on his Instagram page. So I think he's probably the most gifted gamer out of all the athletes for sure.
A lot of people are like trying to figure out things to do with their downtime right now. And maybe there's some people who were haters of esports before, or adults who didn't support their kids playing. And now they might actually be looking to play a game themselves because they're bored of watching Netflix. Do you think that that's accurate?
I think that's definitely accurate. I came from a family where my parents did not support my gaming career. They were very much against it. And after they saw me, really take the risk and succeed, now they're supporting my younger brothers with their own gaming paths, and they're, providing them with computer setups and streaming setups. And they're a lot more invested in the games that we're playing. So I can definitely see some parents out there being a lot more supportive of their kids who are trying to get into gaming. And I can definitely see some of them as well just trying to play video games themselves because, there's not a lot to do right now.
What would you say to those people who had negative thoughts about esports or told their kids go play outside, stop playing these games, to maybe check it out right now?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that when you're playing video games, it's a bit of an escape. It's a bit of a distraction from everything that's going on in your life, good or bad. You just kind of take yourself out of it, play some games, maybe make some online friendships, and just have fun. And in a time like this, where there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of bad things happening in the world, video games is the perfect distraction, temporary distraction or long-term distraction for what's going on. Try it out, make some friends online so that you're social distancing and not seeing people in person. A lot of my closest friends are friends that I've only met a few times at different gaming events, but I talk to them every single day online through video games.
Oh, I love that. Your best friends are people you've met doing just this.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I got married to one of them as well. I met my wife online through video games, and after a couple years of long distance, a couple years here, she moved to Austin. We got married, and now we're pushing years. All
Oh, what a great story. I think a lot of people too are they can't go out on dates right now. So hey, start playing some video games.
you might meet the one. You never know.
Yeah, you never know what can happen. How has this just impacted your day-to-day life? Like how much you're streaming or even just like as a person, your day-to-day life, how is it being affected?
So all the gyms are closed, and that's something that I was recently just getting back into, which kind of sucks. But uh, fortunately, we have enough space to kind of put together a home gym, which we started that project a few days ago, and that's almost done. But to be honest with you, my day to day hasn't changed too much. I'm streaming a lot more than I was in the past. But we're very much homebodies and don't leave the house too much. However, we I schedule a lot of different outings that we go to the mall, we go to the movies. I love going to a diner theater and just watching a movie with some dinner, and that has completely stopped. All those outings have stopped, and it kind of I kind of miss that because that was kind of like my escape from the grind, from the work.
Mhm.
Because of the fact that I work at home, whenever I'm at home, I feel like even when I'm not working, I'm sort of like thinking about work. And leaving the house is kind of my one way to escape from that, but that's not really an option right now.
So
Even though
how
it hasn't changed too much, those little days where I went out, went to see a movie, or just went to the mall were important, and now I don't have that. But the end of the day, it's still fortunate enough to be able to work from home, and I definitely don't want to take that for granted.
how are you finding ways? I think you could probably give some advice to people who are now having to work at home for the first time. How do you find ways to escape right now when you can't go out to the movies or to dinner?
So one thing that's important for me is I have a dedicated workspace where I leave all my work in one area. That way, when I'm in different parts, of my house, I'm not really as inclined to hop back on or take a peek at an email or see what's going on online or try to maybe play a few games or whatnot. So definitely have a little bit of separation between working from home and then like make sure you have like a designated space for that so
Mhm.
that when you're outside that space you can kind of just relax and not think about work and think about everything that's going on. That's like my number one tip.
What about for people who are going to take this time to decide to maybe stream themselves or um, start playing games? What's the number one tip that you have for them just getting started?
Yeah, so honestly, I think games, single player games that you can play and experience a story, sort of like a movie, those are really easy to get into, especially for first time gamers, because you're basically it's like reading a book, but you're playing it out through video games, or it's like watching a movie that you're playing out through video games. And that's how I started my gaming career. It was all single player games on the PlayStation. Um, One single player game that I recently played that was really fun. It was the Star Wars Rise of the Order, or no, Star Wars. I forgot the name actually.
Star Wars something.
It was one of the Star Wars games that recently came out, and the story based games are awesome because it's almost like you're not playing a video game. You're just kind of experiencing a story, but there's a little bit of video game aspect to it. Second thing is like if you're trying to get into streaming, you don't really need all the fancy equipment that a person like me would have. When I first started streaming, I just had a very basic like Logitech webcam and a very simple microphone. Um, and I started streaming. No graphics, none of that setup, none of the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
Um, you just got to figure out what computer you have and set the settings up on OBS to live stream and just get started. Honestly, just get some friends involved as well. That's how I would start. If I had to start all over again, I would just talk with some friends and be like, "Hey guys, we should stream some video games together and take it from there."
And hey, why not right now? And just so they know, you set up your entire thing there, right? Your
Yeah.
lighting,
So
like everything.
lighting, the camera, both my computers, like everything is like um, set up by me just through trial and error over the past 5 years of doing this full time. You kind of learn things as you go and just take it one step at a time. There's no need to overwhelm yourself because it can get overwhelming. I started off with one computer where I streamed and gamed off one computer, and now I have two computers, three monitors, two keyboards. Like, but I didn't jump to that. I slowly added to my setup over time. That way, I didn't get overwhelmed with everything that's going on.
Absolutely. Cypher, thank you so much for doing this. I'm really glad to hear that you're doing okay and trying to find ways to escape, and hopefully your numbers are still staying up there.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.